Okay, guys, we're going to be using the website Hoops Hype to go over the NBA depth chart for this season. This is the 2025 through 2026 season. And yeah, a pretty reliable source on Hoops Hype. And looks like they're just trying to go over the expected rotations. And we're already in the middle of pretty much preseason. So most of the rotations have already been established as far as the starting lineup goes. And then obviously you have some people who are fighting for a couple of last roster spots. And looks like they just updated this today. So keep that in mind. And my favorite team hasn't even played one preseason game yet. And they will be last on this list because I'll probably have a lot to say about that team, my team specifically. All right, first things first are the Atlanta Hawks, man. I feel like a year or two ago, I was very concerned about the Atlanta Hawks, especially after they went to the conference finals. They just seemed to be headed downward ever since. And then there were all those rumors about Trae Young possibly being traded. And last year, they really, they got rid of DeJounte Murray. That experiment was just not working out. And I was so concerned about the package that they gave away. That they received in return for him. And obviously I was worried that they finally got a number one pick and the choices were pretty much picks that would be bottom lottery picks in a stacked draft. But Zachary Reese-Shea, he's probably going to be a high tier role player, the glue guy to do it all very well, probably like a jack of all trades type player. So not your typical number one option, a number one pick, but I think he's going to be a serviceable role player, possibly a star in your role player. They got Jalen Johnson this year, and then Dyson Daniels on the wing, who surprised me the most last year. I just was not aware of his game. And the defense on this team is crucial because we have Trae Young at the point. And I'm saying we because I live in Atlanta, but they're not my favorite team, but I can't help but root for Atlanta. I used to love Joe Johnson and those squads back in the day. But they have a team built around Trae Young. This is the perfect setup for Trae Young. I can't imagine Kristaps Porzingis actually starting, but he may start. But I just don't see that lasting too long. Onyeka Okongwu, he's just the perfect center to replace Clint Capella and be that role man for Trae Young. I just don't see Kristaps really playing that role very well. And you got Jalen Johnson, who I expect to pick up where it left off last year before that injury. Asa Newell, I wish my Wizards would have probably drafted him, but they had other plans. Then they got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I feel like this team could possibly be like a middle of the pack Eastern team, like a 4th or 5th seed in the East for sure. That's probably Casey Wallace's brother or something. Who knows? Okay, Boston Celtics, man. My big thing for the Celtics this year, obviously they do not have Jason Tatum, and they traded Drew Holiday. My gripe with and they traded for Anthony Simons, which was very surprising in the Drew Holiday trade. My thing with them, though, is that they could possibly suck so bad this year that they get a top 5 pick. And you got a top 5 pick coming to play with this squad and a healthy Jason Tatum. I'm just like, man, it's like they're just destined to happen. And I'm going to clip this moment because I want to be the person that says it first. If it does happen, I want to be able to come back to this moment and be like, yep, I said this back in October. I said it. But they could also be that team that's like sneaky good because they just know how to play basketball. They got a lot of continuity. They could literally be right there behind the Atlanta Hawks, maybe a 5th or 6th or seed or fighting for a play-in spot. I could see them fighting for a play-in spot, especially if Anthony Simons and Peyton Pritchard just turn it up a notch. I feel like Derek White is going to have a really big year. Jaylen Brown is just going to, I feel like he's already who he is. I don't see him doing anything more than what he's already done. I think he's just going to be consistently that for the remainder of his career. And Derek White, I feel like he's just going to turn up this year. And then they just got to utilize some of these big men. They just got to crash the boards and just go into the paint, man, and have everybody inside out, man. Just pick and roll, man, kick it out, pull the same threes. Jaylen Brown hit your middies and try to get people involved, and that's just what you're gonna get, man. Not much on the bench. A lot of people that are unproven. It looks like they're taking some gambles on some people, so we'll see how that goes. Brooklyn Nets, man. I am the worst person to even speak on the Brooklyn Nets, man. I haven't really kept up with them ever since James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. I just blew up their team. You know, one of the biggest downfalls was Kevin Durant's toe on that line. We'll never forget about that. But I do feel like the Nets are finally intentionally being bad this year. I feel like they weren't necessarily trying to be bad these previous years, but I feel like this year is the year where they're going to experiment and try to be bad. They didn't really want to bring back Cam Thomas. They didn't want to sign him to a hefty deal. He's just going to come in and do his thing, his normal thing, and probably try to do even 10 times even more so he'll be guaranteed to get a nice contract next year, which probably won't work because of his prototype of a player. But yeah, they're intentionally trying to be bad and they're experimenting at their point guard position. I think they really wanted to move up in the draft to get Jeremiah Fears, but it just did not happen for some reason. So they went and got Igor Dimin, 6'9" point guard, doesn't have a jumper at all. Nolan Traore, pretty traditional point guard. I can't remember if he's undersized or not. I think if he's at least 6'2", 6'3", he'll be okay. But I feel like Igor Dimin is just not going to work out. I'm not sold on that, but I do really love Nolan Traore, and they're just starting from scratch. They're going to try to be bad for the next few years, just like my team. Charlotte Hornets, the team with all the talent, but just can't turn that talent into wins. That is the same story we have here, and everything is also riding on LaMelo Ball being healthy, Brandon Miller taking a step up, Con Knipple living up to the hype and being that major glue guy that might bring some maturity to the roster, even though he's the rookie. Miles Bridges, who just seems locked in now after everything he's went through and everything that he avoided when it comes to almost throwing away his career. Grant Williams, we know what he's going to do. They added Colin Sexton, another person to bring some veteran leadership and just tenacity and hard work in the locker room. Spencer Dinwiddie, same thing. So, in my opinion, these guys, and they got Trey Mann coming off the bench as well. Trey Mann can light it up. If something happens with LaMelo Ball, they can start Spencer Dinwiddie and bring Trey Mann as the main guard off the bench next to Colin Sexton. So they have some LaMelo Ball insurance. Even if LaMelo goes down, I expect them to be something of a play-in team, at least. With LaMelo Ball out, with a healthy LaMelo Ball throughout the season, they could be a sixth. They could be anywhere between fourth and sixth. That's how good I think they could be if they put it all together, like chemistry and maturity, balancing out the roster and taking it serious and not being okay with just being a mediocre team. Unfortunately, Pat Connaughton, what the heck? Why is he that? Dang, that's a lot of money to be that bottom at the rotation. Same thing with Trey Mann. This guy, I guess he's not panning out. They're not really believing him as much as they did prior. Okay, so we got the Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls are very, very, very interesting because they could surprise us and be very good or just they're just a play-in team. They are in purgatory right now. And Josh Giddey, he fought for that $25 million that he has right now. And I think he wanted more, but then he was like, screw it, I'm going to just take the 25. And they don't really have money tied into anybody, but they're not in a position to get like a high draft pick that could possibly change their franchise. They got Montez Buzelis, so it's really on him turning into a superstar type player. And then Isaac Okoro, he's that glue guy. And then Kobe White, he's just a good, on a playoff team, he's just like that good third, fourth option if you need someone to get you some buckets, or just like that ultimate six man that you can just plug in. And then Nikola Vucevic, he's just consistently been who he is. Just a kind of confusing team. Ayo Dosunmu, I thought he was going to break out and turn into some not smaller version, but some lesser version of Russell Westbrook. You know, like, not saying he was going to be that good, but I thought he was going to be something of that, like, you know, getting rebounds, assists, and just being all around athletically gifted guard. And I don't know. I just don't know what the Bulls are doing, man. This roster just looks very confusing. Your only hope is everyone to remain consistent and Montez Buzelis becomes a superstar. That's your hope. And then Noah Singe, he's a project. I don't know. I'm sorry, Coop. Cavaliers, man. I'm not gonna lie. They really surprised me last year how good they actually were, but eventually they did get exposed in the playoffs. I expect them to be a top seed this year, even with Darius Garland's injury. I think Lonzo Ball is good enough to hold his own. I don't really trust Lonzo to be Lonzo, but he's surrounded by good enough talent that he is serviceable in that role. I can't believe they got Killian Hayes. Man, I used to believe in that guy so much, and I just don't. Larry Nance, Dean Wade, I think they lost Max Strus. Someone's going to have to step up. Dean Wade, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how good he really is. Someone just has to step up off the bench. One of these guards, one of these 4 or 5, someone in this area has to step. And they still should be somewhere in the top 4, top 3 this year. Dallas Mavericks, man, we already know what's going on with them, man. They got the lesser version of Kyrie because Kyrie's not really a defensive guard, but he knows how to get people set up, and he knows how to hit big shots. And D'Angelo is basically that. Kyrie probably has a better IQ, a very high IQ compared to D'Lo, but not a bad pickup if you want to replicate something similar to the role Kyrie would play. He was the perfect person, so that when he comes back, you're just replacing that. You're just plugging Kyrie in, and it's not much different when it comes to play style. It's just you got more of a general, more of a floor general, or seasoned person that can take you far into the playoffs. I see Dallas this year probably being bottom of the West. I don't see them I don't know, man. I don't see them really being top of the West. I see them being like below like 6th or 5th or even 7th, even fighting for a play-in. I don't know, man. It looks good on paper, but I just don't have that much faith in it. I think I'm going to stop right there, man, because this is actually this is a lot more exhausting than I thought. Let me go back to the Dallas roster, and then I'm gonna count how many I did, and I'm gonna divide it by sessions, and I'm gonna just do sessions and call this session 1. We're gonna call this session 1, man, and then we're gonna clip it. Oh shoot. Okay, so we got the Dallas. So we did. Dang it, man. If this would stop lagging, we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 3 is 21. So you know what? We got to do 3 more teams. We're just going to do 3 sessions of 10. So we're going to do 3 more teams. Okay, and we got the Denver Nuggets. They made an interesting deal this year by getting rid of MPJ for Cam Johnson. And I couldn't think of a more perfect trade for the Denver Nuggets. I was once a very big MPJ fan, but and maybe I'm a little biased to some of the things he said offline, but just or maybe the controversy with his brothers. I hate being judgmental like that, but just something about him just threw me off, man. And, and it's probably influenced by some social media bull crap. Yeah, I can be honest about that. But also, when you hear all the rumors about him being a cancer in the locker room, and then on top of that, the whole Russell Westbrook thing, we already know his personality. It just seems like, yeah, man, like the apples don't fall too far from the tree type thing. But he was very productive on the floor. He was a star in his role. I'm going to say that a lot during these segments. He was a star in his role, and it's very hard to replace someone like MPJ, but you found the perfect person to do that. I'm not really sure how good he was defensively. I can't recall him really I know he was a pretty good defender, but I can't recall him being a lockdown defender. But Cam Johnson may possibly be the same level of defender. I don't think the drop-off with defense is that significant, and it might be slightly better because Cam Johnson doesn't have back issues or whatnot. Christian Braun, I expect him to fill his role and step it up a notch a lot this year. And then you basically got baby Jokic, Jonas Valanciunas coming off the bench. So Jokic you can still run the same offense in the same system, to a lesser extent. You got Bruce Brown back. That's just, that's just good for business, man. That's just going to sell tickets. That's just going to bring that energy back, man. You got Bruce Brown back. He should have never left in the first place. And you'll notice in here, bro, I'm going to bring this up in probably the other 2 segments I'm going to do, but the guards, man, you're not really seeing traditional point guards anymore, especially if they're 6'2", 6'3", or 6 foot. I thought shooting guards were phasing out, but it's really point guards that have been phasing out. And it's just like, okay, whoever's the best ball handler, you just bring the ball up the floor. If you catch the rebound and you know how to bring the ball up the floor, bring the ball up the floor and initiate the offense. It's like, man, point guards are going out of style. It's kind of scary. But yeah, man, the Nuggets are going to be fighting for a top seed. They just got rid of locker room cancers, and I love Russell Westbrook, but sometimes these narratives there might be some truth to some of these narratives, and he might not be being toxic intentionally like someone like MPJ, but sometimes his fierce competitiveness and high energy can be draining. I know people like that, okay? Detroit Pistons. Man, my mom used to love the Detroit Pistons, and she had a boyfriend that was rooting for the Heat during those battles back in the 2000s, late 2000s, mid 2000s, yeah. And I was always on my mom's side rooting for the Pistons, man. The Chauncey, before I was a Washington Wizards fan, there we go. I was a Detroit Pistons fan. That Chauncey Billups team with Rip Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince, and then Wallace. Dang, I can't remember all of their names, man. It was Ben Wallace, and then the other guy with a patch in his head. Why can't I remember his name? I gotta stop and go look at that old team. Hold up, man. I gotta see that 2004 Detroit Pistons. Rasheed Wallace, man. I'm tripping. I knew it was another Wallace. I knew it was 2 Wallaces. Rasheed Wallace, man. That team, and then they had a good bench, man. I used to love freaking Detroit, man. Then they traded Chauncey Billups later on for Allen Iverson. That was crazy. And then Chauncey turned up with the Nuggets. He got Melo to the conference finals. The only time Melo's ever been to the conference finals, man. Shout out to Chauncey Billups. But yeah, I saw the Detroit Pistons getting good miles ago, years ago. Like as soon as they got Cade, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. Because when people restart rebuilding, you just got to get serviceable people and draft well. Even if you draft well, if you don't get that superstar, then all the draft processes and all the meticulous details you've done are in vain until you get that 1-star player. And that's what the Bulls are missing. Detroit would be the Bulls if they didn't have Cade Cunningham. I wouldn't be as confused at their roster, but Cade Cunningham is just it, man. He is Luka-esque. He is, man. Asar Thompson. It's the reason why Amen went ahead of him in the draft, but at the same time, he can do every single thing his brother can do. His brother just does it in a different fashion and might be a little bit more aggressive on offense. You know what I mean? Tobias Harris is very consistent in what he does. Look at their bench. They got Isaiah Stewart coming off the bench. Jalen Duren's coming into his own, man. He's a fringe all-star damn near, mostly because of Angel Reese. And then here we go. Ron Holland, man. I don't think he did the best. He didn't have the worst rookie year, but I remember at one point he was before these French guys came about. I remember Ron Holland being in the consideration for number 1 pick at one point. Karis LeVert, I don't know why they got him at the point guard depth chart, but once again, we're phasing out these point guards, man. These teams are saying it's not even worth it to have a 6'2" point guard on the team. It's just, how is a 6'2", 6'1" point guard going to guard Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham? Cade Cunningham's like 6'8", playing point. Luka-esque. But yeah, man, Pistons, I think they're going to take another step up. They're going to be a top 4 seed in the East this year. That's what I think. And I'm here for it, man. Pistons are probably my number 2 favorite team of all time. Detroit Pistons for sure, bro. And we got one more team. We're going to do one more team. I ain't even talk about their depth chart, but who cares? It's all good. I did enough. One more team, and then this is going segment. This is going to be the end of segment 1 out of 3. I'm just breaking it down and doing 10 teams at a time because this is kind of this is exhausting, but getting a lot of practice with this content creation. So all right, Golden State Warriors. I think my brother may be very hyped about this team, mostly because of that Al Horford addition. I think he likes Buddy Hield. This Warriors team is sneaky freaking good. It is yet another UNC team. It's an UNC team, but this is a very good, motivated UNC team. The chemistry is on fire as long as they get the Jonathan Kuminga situation under control. Keep it under control. Let him do his thing. Don't prevent him from having a bad offseason next year. Let him do his thing. We drug this out all the way to training camp. That's just kill it. That's kill it right here and there. We got Steph's brother on the team finally. We got Podensky, who's damn near could take Buddy Hield's starting job. Gary Payton is back in the building. Moses Moody is just a good small forward to come off the bench. He's gonna do all the little things and, you know what I'm saying, give you the average efficiencies. Quentin Post, don't know too much about him, but his name is Quentin Post. That screams I'm a great backup center. You have to be a great backup center if your name is Quentin Post. And then you got Al Horford. He's like LeBron of centers. And when I say LeBron of centers, like he's been in the league a long time and is still doing things that he probably shouldn't be able to do because he took care of himself. Man, it's crazy. And I guess he's got good DNA, man, that Dominican. I think he's Dominican Republic or something. He's Dominican or something. Then you got Seth Curry. Seth Curry is at the bottom of the depth chart, but you can play small ball. They'll put Kuminga at center if they want to, and they could literally be top. They could go top 2. Steph Curry gonna come back and be like, yo, I got 1 or 2 more chances. Man, this is a great team to end segment 1 on, because the Warriors could literally be like they were in 2022 and sneak and be like a top 2 seed, bro. Top 3 team. Yeah, man. And we haven't gotten to the Thunder yet, but yeah, the Thunder, Nuggets, and Warriors could possibly be the top 3 teams, man. And then you got the Rockets, Timberwolves, and Phoenix. And see right there, that's why I'm just like, the West is crazy. That's why I don't see Dallas. That's why I don't see Dallas really being like top of the seeds, bro. I feel like they're gonna be a play-in tournament team. I just don't see it yet. I don't know. I could be wrong, man. The West has always been stacked. The West has been stacked since the early 2000s, man. But yeah, man, the Warriors are sneaky freaking good. They just got to get Jonathan Kuminga to buy in this year, and they are set. They are dangerous. I'm talking about taking out OKC dangerous. I'm talking about we don't care about Jokic dangerous. We don't give a fuck about Jokic dangerous. We got Quentin Post. Shoot, man. But yeah, man, that was my video. Hopefully we got some good content, some good clips. And yeah, we'll be back for segment 2 and 3 on the next 20 teams. Peace out.